All right. Hello and welcome. Thanks for coming. Welcome back to NerdlesInTime. Today we're doing some Contra, as you can see somewhere on the screen. There it is. I gotta do that. So Contra's like one of my very favorite games for the NES and ever, I think. It's one of the very first games that I really got into as a kid. It's just instantly addictive. Addicting. I guess both words work. Let's get this game going, though. Third time's a charm, right? Yep. No codes. No need. I had no, I was gonna say that I had beaten this game before I learned about the Konami code, but that's not true. When I first played this game for the first time, I was terrible at video games. I was still a little kid. I was very much a novice still. But this game has some great memories for me. In particular, Christmas 1989. It's such a great memory for me. I would always wake up early, as most kids did, for Christmas morning, and I would go through my stocking stuffers and stuff like that, and I would always just hang out by the tree and wait by the presents and kind of stare at them and contemplate what could be in them. I know all little kids are greedy when it comes to gifts and stuff like that, especially for birthdays and Christmas or whatever. That's just how it is. But anyway, that particular Christmas, I had just gotten my Nintendo NES, and at that point I was still accumulating games for the first bit. I only had maybe 10 at most, at very most, probably only 5. So that Christmas morning, I was accustomed to only really getting stocking stuffer gifts, and that was it. I had to wait for my parents to get up for anything really good. But like I said, that particular one, I had that. You know that? Well, some of you might know. There was this. I think it was an official game cart rack. It was just a little rack about this big, about that tall. That was just wireframe. You just held your NES cartridges, and it held 10 or 15. And that was new. I had never seen that before. It held all the games that I already owned, and then it also had Contra in it, which I'd never seen before. I didn't even know the game existed, and it was already out of the box. It was just sitting there in the rack, ready to go. And I didn't wait. I assumed that my parents knew that I was gonna play it as soon as I laid eyes on it, because it looked amazing. And I did. So I always remember that. Whenever I look back on that memory, I think of it as they knew, and they wanted my early morning hour or two that I spent just hanging out by myself. Sometimes I woke my sister up to hang out with me and look at her what she calls sorry, I had to concentrate on this little bit on her stocking stuffers and stuff too. We were just talking about what we got. I messed up and lost my spread gun accidentally. God damn it! I'll get it back in the next level. But yeah, this one was especially awesome because this is just one of the best games on the system by any person's measure. And to be able to play it so young, I was 5 years old in 1989. I was 5, yeah. Alone, in the early morning hours, just by myself. Christmas morning, fucking loving it. My hermit antisocial tendencies were born early. Staying inside and playing video games in the early morning hours is one of my very favorite things to do, and it probably started about that time. So at this point in my life, I've beaten this game more times than I can really remember. I've pretty much got this entire game memorized. That's not to say that I am the best ever at this game. Like, I definitely I'm not able to do like a real speed run or anything like that. And I've tried for a little while to get a deathless run in. For the past year and a half I've been trying, I suppose. And I've gotten one in so far, and that's pretty good. It's definitely really good. I mean, as a Contra player goes, that's pretty impressive, I'd say. But it's not, like, as a competitive Contra player, that's nothing. Like, that little bit right there that I just did with the power-ups there, that was abysmal. I should have gotten both of them and busted them closer to where I was already standing. But anyway, with some practice, I probably could do a couple of good, decent speed runs and get a couple good deathless runs in too. I know I could. I just gotta practice. And I just recently, maybe about a half a year ago, learned about. I always knew that the game looped, but I never knew that the game got harder on the second loop. So I never saw any points of playing it, and I didn't know. Especially, I didn't know that the game keeps getting harder with every loop. And that is like, that information was like treasure. Like that was the perfect thing for me to learn at the time that I was getting back into Contra, because like you can only play a game so much before you're like, I'd rather play something else, because there's not much else you can do with it besides those. I mean, they're not exactly arbitrary challenges, but they are challenges. They're not really how the game's meant to be played. It's supposed to be a challenge, like just getting through the game. But, you know, for people who have played the game as much as me and plenty of other people out there have, like, you need these kinds of challenges to be able to continue the love for these kinds of games. Otherwise, it just kind of stops where you feel like you've mastered the game well enough to you know, it doesn't matter to keep playing it, and then you'll just forget about it. It's those games that are special enough to warrant replaying until you've just beat it so many times that you don't even have to think about playing it when you play it. You just kind of do it to relax, almost. Whoa. And then you reach a certain point where you're just like, all right, now I still want to play this game, but I actually want to be challenged. So you start playing, you try to do the deathless run, you try to do the loops, all that. And yeah, like I was saying, like, before I knew about the loops, it was just deathless run, you know, or maybe like beating it with just the regular gun, which I've done before too. It's definitely more of a challenge than you might think, because I mean, this spread gun really kind of like gives you all the advantage. It's definitely a bigger challenge to beat it with just the regular pea shooter, whatever you call it, standard gun. Little ping pong ball shooter. But this run I intend to just to have a nice, relaxing run, like I just mentioned, that this kind of game can be for me. Should take about, 30-45 minutes, and be a nice little easy run through it. I'm definitely going to play this game a lot more on this channel, seeing how many loops I can get, and trying a deathless run. I mean, you can always try a deathless run. I'm technically trying one right now. I haven't died yet, so I may achieve one. But I'm not gonna do a second loop. I'm just gonna beat it once tonight. All right, fuck that thing. For the longest time, those little bombs that they throw, the grenades, I guess is what they technically are, I always looked at them as slippers, just like red slippers, like my mom would wear. They're not drawn very well. they don't really look like an explosive device, so they look like slippers to me. But then again, like, I didn't question it a hell of a lot as a kid because, like, I mean, look, we got exploding. Those are literally bubbles. Like, what else could they be? Like, I'm not seeing it wrong. Those are bubbles. So if bubbles can harm you and explode, fuck, so can slippers. Why the fuck not? What do you think about that Decepticon logo? Or is it the Autobot logo? I can't actually remember. I didn't watch a whole lot of Transformers as a kid. I know it's actually neither, but it does kind of look like one of them. Oh shit. So I said this video might be 30-45 minutes. I forget how long this game is. I'm already on stage 5 of 8. So I doubt that it's going to be that long. But we'll see what happens, eh? I love the music in every single one of these levels. They're all so, like, ingrained in my memory. It's, I mean, the phrase one usually uses is, "It's not even funny," but, I mean, hey, maybe it's funny. Humor is subjective. I think it's kind of funny. I would have such a panic attack as a kid at this point, because I usually wouldn't have the spread gun or any other kind of gun. I'd just have the shitty pea shooter, and like now I've got the button tapping speed to do it, you know, as if I had just had the regular gun. But as a kid, I didn't, so I would just freak out on the button, and it wouldn't work. So it would just be like that much more stressful, you know. And this boss here at the end of the level isn't exactly very easy with the just the regular gun. It's a cakewalk with the spread gun, but generally, if you're a kid, you're gonna lose a bunch because you're a little uncoordinated little bastard. Even when I was able to beat this game eventually as a kid, I still had to really struggle to get through it every time. Nowadays it's just a total cakewalk, but like I said, it's just one of my favorite games. I'll never not want to play this game at least once a year, if not many times more. I've probably played this game at least 10 times this year. Super C is a great game too. I won't diminish it at all, but I didn't play it as much as a kid, so there's definitely a nostalgia factor drop-off there. I never owned it as a kid, so some of my friends did. But I guess it's kind of a subjective thing if you like this game above number 2, because I would say they're oh fuck, oh, damn it, there goes my run. I stood up a little too fast. What a dumbass move. But what I was saying, I think that these two games are technically like just as good as one another. Like, one doesn't do anything better than the other, in my opinion. In this game, you got the over-the-shoulder point of view levels. Like, there's 2 of them. So I've already done them. And in the other one, number 2, there is the bird's eye view levels, and I think that they are. Well, I guess the bird's eye view ones in number 2 are just a little bit harder than the ones in this level, or in this game, that is. but I don't see them as any... I don't see one as any more fun than the other. I just see it as just a little bit more difficult, which is whatever. I guess more difficult is technically more fun. But then my nostalgia factor kicks in, and maybe that's what it is, really. So, maybe subjectively 2 is more fun. Although, some people don't really agree with more hard being more fun. And I don't subscribe to that. I think if a game is as hard as it can be within reason, that's where it should be. Like, as long as it's not unfairly hard, it should be as hard as it can be. There we go. And I take kids' games into account for that. If it's a kids' game, there has to be some level of leeway for it, because I mean, you want kids to latch onto this and like enjoy video games. No kid's gonna like games at all if they're all too hard to understand. It didn't exactly stop me, but I did have a good, healthy start with children's gaming. In school and games that were okay for little kids, like Centipede or something like that, or, you know, Space Invaders. Those games aren't too complicated for little kids. For little kids, I mean. But games like this, games like Contra, and furthermore, you know, games like this game, they should be as hard as they can be, as long as they're not unfair. Come on, get that thing. Oh, fuck, that was a spread. I was supposed to get that. That's another reason why I was so happy to find find out about the loops and how they get harder every time you loop the game, because come loop 7, that's the good shit. That's right where I like it. It is so hard. There's enemies all over the goddamn screen. And incidentally, that's as far as I've been able to get. That's as many loops as I've been able to do. Is loop 7 on Contra NES. Although, I will say when I did the loops... Ah, fuck. I was definitely gonna jump at the last second there, but I timed it wrong. There's death number 2. When I did the loops, and I was on the 7th loop, I lost my final life, but I didn't I didn't use any continues, so I could have kept going. And I probably would have gotten through another loop or 2. I think, because I think it was like the last level that I was just on HANGAR, that I lost my last life on the 7th loop. So I definitely would have been able to get through this level here, presumably, and maybe one more loop, but you know, honestly, maybe not though, because you start each continue. If you continue, you only get 3 lives back, and at that point in the game, man, you're losing lives like flies. Like every screen, every like group of enemies that you encounter is you'll likely lose a life. Come on now. All right, here we go. Back in action. So I could be wrong. Maybe 7 is my limit, or would have been my limit at that time. But I definitely am raring to give it another go on stream here sometime soon. I don't want to do it on emulator, which is what I'm playing right now. I wanna be able to do it on my. Oh, fuck me! Such a rookie move. It's just because I'm talking. It's gotta be. I don't usually make those mistakes. Anyway, yeah. I've been figuring out my the last component that I need for my signal conversion from from standard to HDMI. Yeah. so that I can capture it on my computer. I just need one more component, and then I'll be able to play my actual Nintendo cartridges, and I have an Evercarts as well. And once I have that, I'll be doing a lot more Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and Sega Genesis, and I have a GameCube too that I want to break out. I have an Xbox that I want to break out. Got a bunch of stuff upcoming here. And that was it. 20 minutes. All right. We're gonna let the credits right out and stuff while I continue to jabber away. But man, I lost what, 3 lives there? 2, 3, 3 or 4. Every single one of them was a dumb move. I could have had a deathless run right then. If I wasn't... But yeah. So like I said, one of my very favorite games. I'll never get tired of this one. We did a stream earlier today, me and Ben. Ben and I, and part 7, I think, of Xenogears, and one of our audience members suggested a website for me to get that last component that I need. So hopefully it'll be coming soon. I just gotta look at that website, make sure I like what I'm getting. By the sounds of it, I will be liking it. So we'll see. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll just let these credits play out and enjoy the boop 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 doo 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 doo. Look at these glitched out bullshit at the very bottom. That's that emulation nonsense. I don't like it. It's always kind of a little it amused me just a little bit always when the end of the game music was the exact same as the game over music, because I mean it's technically a game over, right? You beat the game's over, except for the loops. But yeah, I guess it makes sense. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I will see you next time. I'll be on again on Thursday for those who are watching to continue the Xenogears saga.